And then I got into more of the suicide side of things because I had a younger brother. He walked in on me trying to. He's the reason why I didn't go ahead and do it. I did a commercial for a suicide prevention hotline in Canada. It was in situations where I was bullied a lot. I was very quiet. I was very shy. I never raised my hand to answer questions when teachers asked the questions.
Right.
Didn't have any self-confidence in myself.
Right.
And all of that mixed in caused a lot of anxiety and depression.
Influencer Insight shares the battles, stories, successes of models, influencers, and entrepreneurs as they find the balance of being influential leaders today while creating long-lasting impact for the future.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another session of Influencer Insights, where I have Carla Kovac from Calgary joining me today. She's actually got some family kind of from my part of the world in eastern Saskatchewan, so Carla and I have been able to connect through some of the work we've done before. She's an actor, an acting teacher, a model advocate for mental health and domestic violence survivors, victims, and that kind of thing. So Carla has an incredible story to tell you. I know we've talked about it ourselves in the past before, and it's inspiring to see her move from some of the things she's done into the space that she's in now. And she's really got a lot of good things to share with us today. So welcome, Carla.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you again. We haven't chatted for a little while, but give us a little update on beginning of the year here. How are you doing? Where are you from? Any of those kind of things.
I'm been born and raised in Calgary, Alberta. I've been doing constantly auditions. Been going in 3 a week recently. So
3 a week.
It's been crazy. Yeah.
Is that like exhausting, or is it?
Not really. I find it more fun than exhausting.
Good.
So
A lot to prepare for, though, regardless of scheduling and the other things that you do. So,
Mhm.
So acting is kind of your big focus. What are some of the other parts of your life that you invest time into?
I teach acting as well. So a lot of my time is sitting there and teaching a lot of kids around the world acting. I also teach in-person classes as well. So
Cool.
the improv, method acting, all of that. So yeah, it's been lots of fun. I also do dog walking too.
Cool.
Yeah, just to keep myself active and happy.
Got to well-round yourself and got to pay some bills at the end of the day sometimes too, right? So it's all part of the game. So I think people, sometimes in the entertainment industry, everybody just thinks that you just go get a job as an actor, as a model or whatever, and they forget that some of those things don't pay that good. So you got to kind of balance some of that out too, right? So tell us a little bit about the acting class thing for a second. I think some people may be intrigued about that. Did you start that first, or did you start as an actor and transition into the teaching?
So I've been studying acting for 8 years. So from there, I went from learning acting to teaching acting.
Cool.
And I'm teaching for 4 years now. So basically, when COVID started, I got into teaching.
Cool.
Very nerve-wracking at first.
Yes.
Yeah.
But have you found that that's improved your acting as well? By sometimes when we teach things, we learn more than we teach others. So
Yeah, definitely. It has helped a lot with my confidence as well as with acting.
Nice. That's so cool that you're able to get your foot right into the door of the entertainment space that way too, right? So I guess growing up as little Carla, what was acting and getting into the entertainment space? Is that something you would always kind of wanted to do, or where did that ignite from?
So when I was young, I had a lot of anxiety, so I didn't have the confidence to do all of that. I started in sixth grade. I remember my sixth grade drama teacher. I was in my drama class and I was a shy, quiet kid, and she...
Hey models, thanks for tuning in today. Hope that you're enjoying the episode. It's Ben here. I just wanted to invite you to the Influencer and Model Support Group on Facebook, where we've got a great growing community of people looking to help, support, share tips and tricks on how to grow, become, and develop as a model. So go on Facebook, type in the search Influencer and Model Support Group, and you'll find us. Click join, you'll be added in, and you're going to find a great community of people to support you in your journey.
pulled me aside one day and said, "Hey, I think you should pursue acting because it gives you a different light." It gives me more confidence. I got up on stage. We did a little performance for everyone that was younger. I got up right on the stage and I was loud. I was myself. And so my teacher said, I think this should be something you should pursue. Before that, I thought maybe a vegetable. Yeah.
Could be a
Maybe
vegetable too.
yeah. Words. But helping dogs, right, and working with them, or being a detective was a big thing as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I decided maybe I should pursue this acting, and I didn't do drama through high school, and after sixth grade, I didn't do drama there as well.
Okay.
So I ended up doing drama around grade 11, near summer of grade 11 is when I
Oh,
started.
cool.
Yeah. From there, I just kept at it, and eventually my confidence started to grow and grow, and I blossomed out of my anxiety. I'm able to talk in front of big groups and teach.
Yes. That's a big feat. And I think a lot of people, it's unfortunate they allow that anxiety to rule their lives almost forever, or sometimes it's still their later years in life, right, too. So that's really awesome. You're able to move past that. I guess what do you, now that you've done it for 8 years, you've been in the system and you've moved into acting, like what it kind of sparks you every time? What excites Carla when you're doing your work as an actor? What do you like doing about it?
I like that I can play these different characters and live these lives of these different people,
Mm,
and also be that voice for other people.
sure.
So with acting, for me, the main reason why I'm getting into it is to help those who are struggling with a mental illness, right? Or
Yes.
their mental health, or have
Yes.
gone through domestic violence and survived it, or
Right.
going through it recently, like right now,
Right.
and have that voice and realize, hey, I'm not alone. There's someone who's gone through all this
Yes.
before, and look, they got out on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to jump back for a second, it's probably kind of fun to get to play the veterinarian or the detective and stuff like that in your roles now too, right? So
Yeah, I was thinking I'm gonna find something that I can do all these other things with
yeah,
in different people's lives and stuff.
yeah, you get to take advantage of everything that way. So, what are some, I guess, some highlight experiences? People maybe you've met, or maybe a role you've played. What are some really highlights in the sphere that you've been in?
I did a commercial for suicide prevention hotline in Canada, and it was student filmed. So the students were hired by the hotline to do this sort of commercial. I auditioned for it. I got to go and have fun with it. We played as if I was in an office setting.
Cool.
So that was lots of fun, and seeing these students progress in their film
Yes.
career as well.
Yes.
It was very interesting. I did another commercial. I actually did an audition with this commercial as an improv audition.
Nice.
And back in those times, I was really in my improv. I'm getting back into it again. So I was able to do it. And they asked me, hey, can you play someone who is a really bad customer service? And the first thing that popped in my mind was someone who's goth, chewing gum, looking through a magazine. So I
Right.
got myself into it, and I actually landed that role.
Nice.
So that was lots of fun with that.
Is that a big part of getting roles, just to really dive into the character that you're supposed to be or that you're trying to portray?
Yeah, I find that it helps me a lot in the audition process, is when I've dived into that character and I've starting to live their life and seeing all of their memories.
What's your process for doing that?
So I have changed a little bit. Before, I would have answered a ton of, probably about 50 questions to get myself into it. Now, because I've done it so much, I can just walk around, say, I am this person, and start saying some memories for myself.
Wow.
To get into that moment. But that's because I've done it for so long. So sometimes it will take me a couple hours, depending on how much time I have for the audition. If I have a week, let's say, to do it, then I'll take that time to live the life of that person, and then also analyze the script and see, okay, what can I pull from this to help me live that moment, or what can I pull from this to play those emotions in there as well.
Do you write any of that down, or you just do that kind of all mentally, or is it?
So I do both. I do write some of it down when I script and analyze all of that. I do write that stuff down, but when I do character development, sometimes I just walk around and I do it more mentally.
Nice. Definitely some skill that anybody that wants to get into is going to need to develop, I'm sure, to get there, right? So that I'm sure you teach that in your class as well. So
Yes, I do.
cool. What else? What else has been really cool that you've gotten to do over the years?
I started modeling as well, so
Nice.
I've been having fun with that. I did the highlight from that is definitely the South Asian fashion show I did. I walked in there and they welcomed me. I learned a lot about their culture. I
Yeah,
learned about how to walk on the stage when you're doing a fashion show, and can't walk super fast, but you also can't walk super, super slow.
that's right.
So they trained me with that as well. So I had lots and lots of fun with that.
Was that a local to Calgary kind of show, or was it
Yeah, it was locally in Calgary, yeah.
a few days kind of thing?
It was only one day, but we were sitting there for a couple hours. I think we were there for 10 hours.
I have some experience with the fashion show world, and yeah, it's definitely can be a lot of waiting, but sometimes you meet some pretty cool people doing that too, right? So
Exactly. And the same thing with acting. A lot of the time when you're on set, a lot of it is just waiting.
right. What's the competition in Calgary? We jumped on here before we started recording, and you told me that there's lots of kind of prospects and outlook for 2024 as far as work goes as an actor. What kind of competition in your part of the world is there right now? If you go to a casting, are there lots of people your way that look the way you do, or how does that go?
I think when it comes to the acting world, there's definitely a lot of competition with that. You learn to accept rejection a lot because you're always getting these no's, and then eventually you get a yes, and then woo, exciting.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. We got it.
When it comes to Calgary, I think there is a lot of actors getting into the more background work, but there's also actors that are getting more into speaking roles and all of that.
Right.
So I think if you go more to Vancouver or more to Toronto, to those neck of the woods,
Yes.
then there would be a lot more competition with, all right, now I have to be the best with this. And
Right.
from there, when it comes to acting, a lot of the times they don't really focus on what you really look like, in the sense of, okay, I'm 300 pounds and I'm getting into acting.
Right.
Sometimes they want people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could also be super thin and they want someone like that. So the cast directors, when they go and they look at you, they're seeing, okay, are you going to be a good fit for this role? And is your acting up to what we want it to be at?
Right.
Sometimes you may have the best look for the role and your acting may be okay, but you may get it because you look the best for the role. Or you have amazing acting skills. You may not look okay, have the look, but they may want you because you have the acting skills for it.
Right. 8 years in the acting sphere kind of thing. That's all been in Calgary primarily.
Yeah.
Have you seen the city and the culture out there? Is it growing in that sphere? Because I know it's maybe not quite as much going on as Toronto or Vancouver yet, but have you seen it develop over that 8 years or so?
I see that there is a few shows that are filming here and there. Last of Us was filmed here, but now it's moved to Vancouver.
Oh,
So
is that
we
right?
lost that one. Yeah. Heartland films here.
Right.
We had Under the Banner of Heaven that filmed a little bit here as well. So they're coming here and there, but for the most part, Fargo's still here, Heartland's still here. Other than that, and maybe a few commercials, it's not as busy as it should be, like Vancouver or Toronto.
Right.
Mhm.
And I guess maybe in time that'll increase as well, but the infrastructure is always the challenge with those things, right? If you got the people there that are always there, you need them too, right? So
And then the government grants and all of that too. So
okay, is that a big part of it you found? Or?
here and there. So when it comes to the film industry, Vancouver has incentives. That's what I meant to say, incentives.
Sure.
So Alberta is trying to get incentives in place, but the incentive to film in Vancouver and Toronto is obviously greater than it is elsewhere.
Right. More established and everything like that, right? So
yeah,
that's the challenge. There's huge money in putting a production together, right? So you kind of have to make it a viable business at the end of the day too for the people making those decisions. So
exactly.
cool. What are some things that people should maybe be a little bit more cautious of if they want to get into, whether it's acting or modeling, now that you've touched into that sphere and that sort of thing?
Scammers are big in
Scammers.
both of those industries. When it comes to, let's say, agents, for example, agents in acting, if they are asking you, hey, upfront, hey, I need you to pay $5,000 or even $2,000 upfront so I can represent
Get you in whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Run. Because
run.
Run. Acting agents, usually they will get paid when you've booked a role.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So they'll take 15 to 20%. I know in the States now, they can even take anywhere up to 30 to 35% is what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
So those are about the numbers you will hear in the industry that they'll take from your paycheck.
Pretty standard stuff. So
exactly, yeah.
Just need to make sure that what you're doing is worth your time and their time, right, to be doing that. So do you experience any of the scams, or do you know anybody that's been scammed really bad? Or
I've known that I've had some, I think one or two of my students that went with a specific agency and they got scammed. I'm not going to name names.
Sure. No, that's fine.
Just making sure you guys are very aware of all of that. And if they're offering classes, take the classes.
Good tip.
Because classes are a big thing in the industry. The more you practice, the more you get into it, the better you're going to get at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you start specifically with some classes, or how did you jump into it yourself?
So when I was 16,
okay.
Yeah. 16, 17 is when I definitely did start taking those classes, and it helped build my confidence and blossom out of my anxiety and be able to speak and everything.
With the next level. So what should people expect if they jump into an acting class? Where they, like, if I haven't done any acting myself, so if I went to a class, what would be something I should be, just to reduce the anxiety if I'm thinking of doing that? What should I look forward to?
So you look forward to learning about the industry. You learn about how to analyze a script and how to get really into the moment as the character, or live the life as the person.
Yes.
We do a lot of introductions at the beginning so everyone gets comfortable with everyone. We want to make sure that everyone's a good fit, so that way we don't have drama in the class. We don't want any of that.
Right.
We want to have a kind class. We want to make sure everyone's comfortable and can grow with their confidence in the class as well. So when it comes to analyzing the script, making sure you have the script printed, because usually what we'll do is we'll send the script beforehand, and then we get you to print it out for the class. So that way when you come to class, you're ready, you have all this stuff ready, you're ready to learn.
Dive in and go. So taking the classes, I'm developing the script. What do you do on a kind of a day-to-day basis yourself to practice or to improve on that? What are some things you have in place that way?
So I usually practice about an hour to 2 hours a day.
Okay.
Just getting into character, reading through a script, analyzing scripts. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll work on a monologue, and then I'll film the monologue and post it on my TikTok and my Instagram. So that way I have stuff going out there and people can see what I'm working on, but I'm also practicing and getting better.
How did you decide to just start doing monologues on TikTok? Was that just inspired, or did somebody suggest that, or?
It's been suggested to me a lot. My boyfriend suggested it and told me, hey, you should start doing this, build a following. And then my agent was like, hey, you should do this, build a following. So I gave in and was like, all right, I'm going to start doing this.
You're wise to take the advice after two people suggested. Some people wait for the fifth or sixth. So Do you find that that's kind of, do you get a kick out of that too? Is that fun to watch people interact with your content and stuff when you're posting?
Yeah, I haven't experienced any negative side effects of it yet.
Good.
So
That helps.
yeah, it's helpful. It works. Mainly people will like it, they'll comment. It was very nerve-wracking at the beginning when I posted my first video. I posted it, threw my phone across the room, and took a deep breath.
Yeah. You just got to walk away from your phone for like 2 hours, right? And hope that it's
Yeah.
going to be okay when you get there. So
Exactly.
content creation, now that we touched on that, is that something you'd like to expand upon more, or do you like the social media aspect of doing the acting and that thing online?
Yeah, I do enjoy posting my videos in either if I'm doing it in class or if I'm posting a monologue because it's building that audience. It's
Right.
building the audience that I want to build so that way when I do go and land a huge role, then I have some of a audience.
Right. Get some
Ready.
real fans, right? If anybody's listening to this and you want to go follow Carla, you'll definitely enjoy the work that she does in her creating. So thinking on a kind of really personal level, those are some of the technical things that people can do if they want to start acting. And I think checking out your classes to get started, I think Carla does them on Zoom, so you can do them pretty well anywhere, is a great place to start. But like on a personal development level, I know you and I have shared offline about the things that we do, whether we're talking reading different books or meditation things or whatever. What are some things that Carla does to kind of build yourself in that level?
I do meditation. I do a lot of yoga. I started getting back into it. I stopped it for a month, usually what happens. And then I got back into it. So I've been doing it every single day. As soon as I wake up, I'll go right into doing some yoga. Then right after that, I'll do meditation.
Nice.
I like to light candles when I do it because it allows me to stay in the Zen moment.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I also do gratitude journaling. So I'll also write out 10 things that I'm grateful for. I got myself a little bullet journal and I've been journaling in that lately.
Nice.
So it's lift off my chest when I write out all those stuff.
Sure.
So that's a couple things I do. I walk dogs. So walking is definitely something that helps me
Yes.
with anxiety and with all of that. I have 2 dogs of my own, so I go ahead and I play with them, I walk them, I pet them, and they take a lot of that anxiety away from me as well. I also try to make sure I surround myself with people that I want to be like. So my agents, with modeling and acting. Yeah, and then people who are at a higher level, or I talk to them, or I listen to their podcasts, and I follow them on Instagram.
Nice. That's awesome stuff. When you were kind of fighting the anxiety stuff, kind of just before maybe you got into the acting, like what kind of drove you to start doing the personal development thing? I think that's a really interesting story for a lot of people because when, we all go through those challenging times in life, and then all of a sudden we realize that, hey, most of this stuff that I'm going through is all in my head, right? And I can change that. So
It's when I met my acting agent. So when I first started getting into classes, I also take she's also my agent as well. So I started taking her classes, and then she got me really into that meditation, really into, all right, so if you want to become better, you need to start doing these things so that you're not sitting at home having all
Right.
this anxiety and doing nothing about it.
Yes, such good advice. And I mean, you're still young now, but you were quite young when she was introducing that to you. So I think that's a really wise mentorship sort of piece, right? Because man, that sets you up for life after that too. So
Yeah, exactly.
shifting gears maybe a little bit, maybe going a little deeper into that mental health thing. You've mentioned a few times since we've been chatting about the anxiety, and personally, I know some of the things that you've been through. What mental health? How has that negatively affected your life? What have you been through that's been a challenge that way?
Growing up, I was in situations where I was bullied a lot.
Oh my.
So that was a lot of just anxiety. I was very quiet. I was very shy. I never raised my hand to answer questions when teachers asked the questions.
Right.
I really didn't have any self-confidence in myself. I didn't have any self-belief, so I didn't believe in myself either.
Right.
And all of that mixed in caused a lot of anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
On the other part too is growing up, a lot of my family is bigger, and a lot of them would always poke fun at me, say, "Hey, you're super thin. You should gain weight, go
Eat
eat
some
some food."
more.
And that got into my head
Oh
because I
my.
didn't have a self-image for myself.
Sure.
So I would constantly eat and eat and eat until I vomited. And
My
then
goodness.
I would eat some more and I'd keep eating and then I would keep vomiting.
Oof.
So because I had my metabolism in my body was very fast, I
Mm.
never actually gained that weight. So I constantly was just eating and eating and eating and throwing up and not having a fun time.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then during COVID, I gained a little bit of weight. So my self-confidence there was okay, and my self-image was okay as well, but I also didn't want to gain that weight. I wanted to stay thin. So I had that conflicting views of that.
Right.
So I started getting into exercise, started getting into yoga, and that helped me with my self-image. It helped me with my anxiety as well.
Sure.
So I tried to keep my mindset in the set of positivity and making sure that my self-image was getting better each day.
Jumping back just to the bullying for a sec, how old were you when you first kind of experienced that you remember, I guess?
Ooh, I think I was about 4 or 5 when
Oh
I
my. Wow.
experienced it.
Really young. And then that kind of progressed all the way till your later teens in high school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It wasn't as bad in high school as it
Okay.
was in elementary and junior high.
Right. Did you have support around you at that time, or did you feel alone when you were going through that stuff, or did you have friends that were
I definitely
feeling the same?
felt I definitely felt very alone at that
Mm,
moment. I felt like I had no one to talk to. My school counselor was there, but I didn't feel like I actually could talk with her.
right.
In high school, I had my school counselor, and she was super nice. She helped me through a lot, and she
Hmm.
gave me techniques to work with it. And she was the best counselor I've ever had.
Well,
But back in elementary and junior high, I never really had that. I had people that I called my friends, but I didn't really look at them as fully my friends.
right.
I just wanted to fit in with everyone in school, like everyone wants to do.
Yes.
And when I was going through all of that, I got into a very depressive episode with all of that.
Oh my.
And yeah, and then I got into more of the suicide side of things because I had a younger brother. I'm very thankful for my younger brother.
Hmm.
He walked in on me trying to, and
Oh my.
he's the reason why I didn't go ahead and do it because I saw him and he's 6 years younger than me. So
Pretty
he was
scary.
very young. So I was about 14 when I
Wow.
went that. We do the math. He was quite young.
Pretty young. Yeah.
He walked in and he asked me what I was doing, and so then I stopped, and then I couldn't go ahead, and I wanted to be there for him, and so that
Hmm.
he could grow up and say, "Hey, my sister's doing all these amazing things. I want to be like her." I wanted to be a role model for him and everything.
It's amazing. What a shift for you right in that moment to realize that, hey, it's my purpose is bigger than just me, right? So
Mhm.
those are tough things to go through. As I mean, uh, you lived a life, Carla, that a whole life before most people even start their own, right? So that's pretty incredible that you've made it through all that. So looking back on, like, I don't know if you observe and you see kids or young people going through that now. How does that make you feel, and what can we do to help others doing that?
It definitely makes me feel like I want to put my wings over them and protect them
Yeah, for sure.
because I've been through it. I want to fight the people that are bullying them and stop them
Hmm.
and say, "Hey, no, don't go, don't do that." Exactly. I want to make sure that I show them that they're not alone,
Hmm.
that they have to keep going,
Hmm.
even if it isn't for themselves, finding maybe a younger sibling, right? Maybe finding if they're really close to their parents and saying, okay, I need to keep fighting for them or I need to keep fighting for myself. It gets better. That's the main thing
Gets
I'm going to
better.
say about it gets better. It may suck right now, if I'm allowed to say that. It may suck right now. But it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward. Life's a journey. Keep pushing. You're not alone. And when it comes to the domestic violence side, the people who are victims of it right now, it's going to get better. I've experienced it. It's going to get better. Keep moving. You have support, even if you feel like there is no support. Talk to people. If your parents are still alive, and if you're close with them, get their help. If you have siblings, get their help. It may feel impossible right now, but you're gonna get out of that situation, and you're gonna see the light on the other side of the tunnel, and you're gonna see, wow, I pushed that away, and now I'm in this moment, and I can see that I'm getting more positive, or I can see all of that.
Yes.
The moment where I was in, I got PTSD from my domestic violence I was in. And it took me 4 years to just get over that. I got out of that relationship and I got into a relationship with myself and started building myself after that. And it helped that I had a lot of good friends that supported me and wanted to see me be better. My current boyfriend as well. He's been really helpful and supportive with my process with all this, especially when he first met me back in 2019. It was 2017. Actually, it was 2017. It was 2017 when I was in that moment, in that situation. And so he met me in 2019, and he really helped guide me through my negative mindset into my positive mindset.
Oh, it's amazing. Beautiful story. Something that I think a lot of people would hope to get out of their relationships, I guess. The support, the love, and the just acceptance of is what it is, right? So people that are maybe, because I heard a lot in what you were saying about just reach out. I think that kind of came through in what you were saying. For people that are scared, they're feeling alone, they feel like they have nobody to turn to. Do you have any advice for people like that?
As someone who felt like that, what I did actually is, because I had no one, I reached out to myself. If that makes sense. I would go in front of a mirror and I would talk to myself. I would look at myself and say, hey, it's going to be okay. You're going to move forward. It may seem challenging or impossible right now, but keep moving forward. And for me, the word just came into my mind. I wasn't just thinking of that. I had the negative mind still on the other side saying, no, you're stuck. You can't do this. And you're useless and all that.
Sure.
But I still also had that mindset of, okay, this can't get any worse, so it has to start getting better. If I keep in this one moment, it has to start getting better, or else I'm going to spiral down and I'm going to become like that person, or I'm going to go so low that my self-worth is going to be nothing.
Right.
And it helped too that at that moment too, it was 2 years, 2016 is when I started with acting. And so it helped too that I had that to go off of and have that confidence. Tell myself, hey, it's going to get better. You need to just get out of here.
Yeah.
Even if you don't even bring your stuff with you, just run.
Remove yourself from the situation as much as you can, right? So
yeah, exactly. And then having that confidence, because when I told him I was leaving, I know you don't have to tell him, just go.
Just leave.
Just leave. But he was trying to manipulate me to stay. He cried and said, hey, all this, but he cheated on me. He did all this other stuff as well. So I was like, no, like I'm leaving. Today is the last day and everything. And then my aunt picked me up, came there, and I flew back to Calgary because I wasn't actually in Alberta. I was in Ontario.
Right.
At that moment.
That's even more of a scare is when you're so far from home and stuff too, and where it's safe. It amplifies the anxiety probably to a different degree too, right? In that case. So.
Yeah. And I didn't have any friends there either, so it was a lot of just talking to dogs. He had 2 dogs out there, and so I talked with the 2 dogs, and I hung out with the 2 dogs until eventually I ended up actually meeting a friend, and she helped me a lot too.
Good. That's awesome, man. What an encouragement to hear that you made it through that challenge, right? Because, and it's likely you'll have some effects of that forever, but you've also worked through a lot of stuff that a lot of people just, they're going through right now, right? So thank you for sharing that. Maybe shifting gears to ambitions and dreams and goals for the next few years for Carla? What are some things that you want to try and accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years?
Landing a big role on a
Perfect.
TV series or a movie,
Nice.
something big, a lead, so that way I can show, hey, I'm at this level. I'm going to keep going from there. That's definitely a big goal with that.
Yes.
Landing a modeling gig, because mainly right now it's just been time for print, TFPs.
Sure.
So I want to start getting more into that. I do have an agent for modeling. I also have an agent for acting. So I've been submitting myself to a lot of things that they email to me. Buying a property is a big thing as well that I want to get into.
Buying
Rent
a
keeps going up
property.
and up and up. Yeah, rent keeps going up and up. So I want to own something so I'm not having to pay the high fees of rent.
Sink into nothing and have nothing in the end too, right? So good for you. No, that's awesome. There's probably so many different little day-to-day gamuts and goals and stuff that you want to try and knock off, I'm sure too. It's one step at a time. Do you plan your life out like that? Like, the big goal is the, big role in a movie or a film or whatever. What are some just day-to-day things that you kind of plan off that are taking you to that goal?
Working on character development and my acting. So I tend to work on that stuff, and I try to do, like I said, an hour to 2 hours a day on that specifically, working on a specific monologue. Right now I'm working on a demo reel. I have some footage already. I'm getting more
Cool.
and more comfortable with crying on camera. That's the one emotion
That's
that
a
I've
tough
been
one.
struggling with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been struggling with it. I did an audition and I got myself, something clicked, and I got myself to that point where I was bawling and crying. And I actually took a little bit of that footage and I put that onto my demo reel.
Nice.
A little bit. No one really knows that it's what it's for or from. So I got really into crying and showing that emotions. And I'm going to continue working on that demo reel and getting more footage for it. This way I can send it to the casting director or the directors, and they can see, okay, this is what she's doing in her acting skills. This is the level she's at. And then I can get maybe more auditions from that. And in the industry too, lately they've been wanting people with demo reels.
Mm-hmm.
Working on that is a big thing
Beast.
that I need to get in gear with.
Good. You've got very defined goals though, and I think sometimes maybe it feels like I don't know how I'm going to do all this, but for a lot of people, they're wandering around, not sure what am I even supposed to be doing and that sort of thing, right? So for anybody that's again getting into this realm, or you're thinking of looking at being an actor, pay attention to what Carla does, because she is somebody that is very driven to achieve the things that she wants, and she's taking a lot of steps towards that. So that you're definitely a good example to watch that with her, Carla. So my favorite question is kind of towards the end here. Everybody, I don't know if everybody wants to, but I think when you're in the entertainment industry, having your Instagram or your TikTok blow up overnight would be just a fantastic thing for you as far as your career goes. When that happens for you, what is kind of a big message you'd want to share to people with a big audience?
I think when it comes to acting and everything, to keep moving forward.
Good one.
Life is a journey. Your career is a journey. Everything is a journey. And if you quit or stop at the first fail, you're never going to achieve anything.
Oof.
So know that even though it's a journey, you are going to have those ups and those downs. You're going to have the fails, but it's moving forward and keeping moving forward that's going to rocket you to where you want to be.
Yes.
And I fell down a lot. I failed a lot of times myself, and I just keep getting up and I just keep moving forward.
Yes.
Believing in yourself is a big thing with this as well. So just believe in yourself, and if you don't believe in you, I believe in you. You got this.
No, that's very good. Well said. I think many people are walking around struggling with how do I go on, but it's just about one foot in front of the other, right? Every time. So very good.
I saw this image before, and it was a ladder, and there was a huge gap between one step to the other step, and this person was the
Reaching.
little cartoon person was reaching and couldn't get to it, and then on the other side of it was this ladder with the prongs really close to each other, and this person was easily climbing. And it kept growing more and more and more, and this person kept staying at the same level because they had that big gap in between. So take those little steps, and that's going to keep you moving forward.
If I could move my mic off the table and drop it there, because that's perfect. So well said. Cool. Thanks for coming in, Carla, and sharing on the podcast. I know it takes time to commit to this, but it's really good to hear your story, and I think you're going to inspire a lot of people with the things that you're sharing and you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to chit chat and just go over life and hopefully inspire somebody else. So, but for now, we'll say take care and chat soon.
All right, bye.
Hey there, really appreciate you joining the Influencer Insights podcast today. If you've enjoyed this episode, I just would ask that you share it with a friend and give the video a like or the podcast a rating, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite other player anywhere else. That really helps us share the message and grow this community as well. So thanks for that. Take care. Have a great day.